Welcome to the Gen Z Journey, where we work with you through an entrepreneurial lens to build a wholesome perspective on life and build both our business and personal dreams together. Join our community on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Gen Z Journey. So, hello and welcome to another Gen Z Journey podcast. You're back here today with me, Rio. You're here with Aaron, and you're here with Joe. We need to start recording these again late. I think I'm super pumped. Again, we've just had an awesome day at the Gen Z. We can't disclose too much, but we've just had, all we can really say is that we've had a great day, kind of connecting and networking with some individuals. So that has been amazing. We made some great connections.
We've also revamped our website, so that's a whole new thing, so also exciting.
Check it out.
Go and check it out. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment, send us a DM, something.
Give us feedback. If anything's not working, tell us.
Yeah, and our new merch has come out. No, I'm kidding. This
We got our Gen Z shirts.
We got our Gen Z shirts on, but if you're watching us on YouTube, then great. But if you're not, then head over onto YouTube. You can see me and Aaron rocking these new kind of like back strap. Well, mine's new. I don't know about Aaron's, but our little back straps. And I genuinely, just as a little side note from kind of podcast stuff, I genuinely recommend this to anybody. I put it on this evening. Instantly feeling better in my posture, in just my breathing even is crazy. So yeah,
it's a posture corrector and it really helps. It really helps you relax. Your shoulders feel a lot more laid back. So I definitely recommend. I've been using it for 2 years. There
we go. Well, I've been using mine for 2 hours and it's working really well. So perfect. But enough of that. We'll get straight on to kind of today's podcast. And obviously, we're on a discussion podcast today on our lovely Wednesday sessions. So we're going to discuss the article written by Aaron this week. And it kicks off our next 3-week series on the Entrepreneurial Lifestyle area of our podcast. And we're going to start with the topic of the different categories of passions that entrepreneurs are and come across as they kind of go through their journey. So I was really excited when Aaron came up with this topic idea. Actually, I think it's awesome. It's a great way to continue on from last week's podcast on when we were talking about passion and really what that means in the development of passion. So if you want to listen to that one, then obviously head back over and have a listen. It's on YouTube. It's on all our social media as well, so you can find it there. But without further ado, let's get straight into kind of this week's article and start talking about that. So, Aaron, the first question, as always, you know what's coming. What was the intention behind this article initially?
Yeah, kind of like what you said, it was a continuation off of the passion mindset, but instead of focusing so much on the mindset, I decided to focus more on the actual traits of passion and the types of passion. And so I chose this because I think it's very important for you to understand what kind of passions you have and what kind of passion type you are. In the article, I do outline that there's 3 types of passions. So there's innovating, which is the idea of being passionate for creating ideas and coming up with new ideas. And then there's establishing passion, and that's the idea of initially creating something and creating a foundation for that new idea and that new product or service that you're thinking of making. And then the last one is a developing passion, and that's the idea of being able to grow this newly founded product or service and being really excited to expand it and make it bigger and continue to grow it and see what you can do with it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love how you wrote that, Aaron. Actually, I really enjoyed it, and I think it very closely, like you gave in your example. I don't want to give too much of the article away because I want people to really read it and get the most value out of it. But I loved how you then go on to speak about our experience of those different categories, and we'll speak a little bit on that in a minute. But yeah, I think it's something that people don't necessarily really register too much about. They think passion is just, passion is a passion for this, or a passion is just, something real general, but actually it gets very, very specific in a lot of ways, unless you're Joe Rodriguez, in which just passion oozes from every crevice of you. But yeah, no, it's I'll go back to as well to, I mean, this was when we were really starting out. I mentioned this on one of our podcasts back then, but it was when we had just started the Gen Z. Aaron wasn't yet on board, but I was on a run, and I was just over at the kind of reservoir near the water on my run. And while I was running, I just had this epiphany, and it was very, very closely related to passion. And for a long time, I thought passion was related to the thing or the business idea that you're working on. So, for example, I had to fall in love with the idea of drop shipping or creating my own online store, or something like that, where actually what I hadn't realized is my passion was more the kind of innovation side of things, and falling in love with the idea of entrepreneurship. That was my passion, still is my passion in a lot of ways. And so that for me is just this article really brings all of that into great focus and clarity for me. Why I think other people that think similar to me, they can get so much value out of this article, because it can they don't have to be out on a run at a reservoir at night getting eaten by mosquitoes to have that epiphany. They can just read this article, So I think that's why, definitely. But then, Aaron, the question I've got for you mentioned and you described beautifully those three categories of entrepreneur of passion. Sorry. So which one are you?
Yeah, so I'm actually a mix of two. I think one of the first things you have to understand is, just because there's different categories of that passion doesn't mean you have to be one specific one. Much like every other trait, you can be a mix of multiple things. And so for me personally, I think I'm a mix between being a passionate person for being a founder, and also a developer. I love the idea of really creating something, and I love the idea of helping it grow afterwards. I don't love the idea so much of actually thinking of the concept and thinking of what I want to do. That for me is very difficult, and I always have a hard time coming to it. Most of the time it feels like I have a blank slate and I can't fill it with anything. But instead, if I have a bare bones or some kind of framework, some outline of what I'm looking to do, I can instantly put it to work and make it grow and work with what I have.
I think Aaron knows himself very well, and can and I like what you say as well. It's kind of a spectrum or a scale of where you are. It's not like you're either this, or this. It's like, yeah, you can actually be a bit of both, and it's definitely a scale for people to understand. And you just talking about what you are like, and then knowing how I'm like, gets me excited, because I realise the potential that we have when we work together. But we're going to talk a little bit more on that in a bit, so I'm going to save that. But Joe, which one are you? Which of the categories are you, or where do you sit on that scale?
I think I fall in all three of them. But I think also too, it's because the maturity of time. Okay, because when one builds on the other, I think then like Aaron, you had said, I have a blank slate. Well, all of a sudden, just like what Rio was saying, you'll get a thought, and then all of a sudden you'll build into it, and you're going like, oh my gosh, I can start to see it now. And I think they kind of build on each other. And maybe over the time, we all have like, weak spots, if I may say that. And sometimes maybe they don't ever develop. I know my weak spots, and whether it's passion or not, I agree with Aaron. It doesn't come. But I believe in time. I think things do develop, and you will see a pattern change in your passions as time wears on.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's that. I would say, Joe, for you as well, is that you've taught me that as well, that with time your passion will develop in all categories, definitely. And I see that from you, and that's what I mean when I said earlier about that just oozing of passion for everything, because you genuinely do get really passionate about all aspects of entrepreneurship now, and therefore all categories of passion you kind of dip into. But one thing that you've really helped me with is I feel like you're very much in that establishment kind of realm of passion as well.
Right.
You like to see things taken from those ideas and start to get established, and then as they move into the development stage, then you're ready to pass them off onto someone else. So that's something you've taught me as well, as I see myself more as a kind of innovator. I like to create ideas and generate them, and so working with these two lovely gentlemen has taught me how to take those ideas and not just go on to the next one, but actually let's develop it and let's do something with it. But that leads straight into my next question, Aaron, of how has these three kind of passions and the different categories of passions, how have they helped us here at the Gen Z as a kind of case study for people?
Yeah, so I think it's a easy and good example because, as I kind of mentioned earlier, I lean more towards the founding and establishing side, and I would say lean more towards the establishing side in general out of all of them. Versus when I look at Joe, I think he's a very well-rounded person, and I think he's a pretty equal mix between the founding and the establishing side of things. And then when I look at Rio, he's more, to me, that innovator and that person that innovates and then develops. I don't think he has the biggest strengths in the founding, which is all right, because that's how you create a team. You can't be good at it all, and so with that fair mix of everything we have, it's really helped us have a well-rounded team where we can then have different ideas and different concepts of how we work with things and how we expand the Gen Z journey. And I think it's also important to know that even though you have these three types of categories, that it doesn't mean that that you'll have a good team. We could all have all these types of passion and these categories of passion, but if we don't have that overarching passion, the greater goal and that greater idea aligning within all of us, it wouldn't work out. We wouldn't be successful in the Gen Z journey if we didn't all agree on the same thing. And even though there's the three categories, above that is that idea of that overarching passion, and for us it's advocating for people and helping people and creating a resource, a compiled resource for not only our generation but people in general that want to be successful in their lives and want to follow that entrepreneurial lifestyle or understand financials or understand how to develop yourself. And so when you have that bigger goal that really encompasses everything that we're doing, it creates a good, successful business.
And I think if I may, we feed off of each other, and we feed off of that. And when we see that, like the new website, you did an amazing job on it. And so it gets us excited to do the next level of that and launch it again. It does for me at least.
Yeah,
for sure. And I definitely agree with what Aaron said there, in terms of it's that overarching goal, and I think it can be really summarized with the fact of we want to document your success, and that for us means bringing people on podcasts and showing you what success looks like in different levels and different areas and walks of life, but then also is helping people on that journey as much as possible through giving them connections, connecting with them, providing the advice that we know and the knowledge that we can give you, the knowledge that Joe has, a huge amount of knowledge that he has. So that, I think, it summarizes our real passion and drive that we have here, and why I say that I get excited, and Joe just said as well, we get excited to work with each other. I think that's a big telltale of when you're working with a group that complements rather than copies your identity, and two, you're working with people that have a very similar vision and goal in life as you. And that's why I say I get so excited when Aaron talks about I'm more on the establishment and a little bit more of the development side of things, because I know I'm an innovator, but then I also know that he's a great human being that has great visions and goals like myself, and we can create something amazing together that I wouldn't necessarily be able to create on my own. And Aaron really summarizes that in the article really well, with words that I would definitely not be able to do. So I think he did a great job there, and I'm sure Joe, you really agree with that. And I think we talk on a Gen Z about our passion and our goal and vision a lot. But Joe, I think you should, let's just take the moment for you. What's your overarching passion? Why are you part of this so much, and how did you find it?
Well, over the years, it just might have found me because you just keep going, you keep going at this, and then no, you really ask yourself my journey is a little bit further than yours, and then you look back, and that's a good question. You wonder, did I find it or did it find me? And you just keep developing it. So I think development is a big key to this. And again, developing it with the journey and then stacking one on top of the other. And then again, at the end of it, it's an overarching of a combination of all of them. I get excited because, again, it's one step, knowing that you're going to get the second step to the third step to the fourth step. And how can you not be excited? You're like Rocky on top going da da da.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. I think yeah, and just from the overarching passion of Joe is just his heart's huge. I think that's the only way I can describe Joe in that sense. He loves to pay forward his knowledge. I've been fortunate enough to be mentored / work with / partner with / a bunch of different things with Joe over these past kind of 5 months or whatever we are now, into it. And yeah, that's, for me, that's just where Joe sits. It's just his passion for anything to do with entrepreneurship and individuals and making their lives better is just I take my hat off to Joe for that kind of stuff. So it's taught me a huge amount, and I hope people listening to the podcast can get a lot from Joe's mentality as well. I'm sure, Aaron, you've got a lot from Joe as you've met him as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that that idea of having that big heart is something that all of us have, and we all have that same idea, and that's why we work well together. And even though we have different types of passion and what we like to do and what we don't like to do, we all are looking to achieve that same goal and that same idea of helping everyone.
I definitely see it because I get those phone calls from you, Aaron, and you're pacing like I am. You're going like, I am so excited.
Oh man.
And you know what? We'll tell our listeners this. You can't teach it. You can try to influence it, but when when you have it, it's a gift and it just gleams. And I've seen Aaron where, man, he's, come on back, Aaron, come on back, and he's still going like a rocket. And then I've had Rio not even be able to finish a sentence with me and say, I'm, and to me, when I see and I witness this, it's a blessing, and I get so excited for you guys when this happens. And again, this all ties into the passion, the overarching of it, be it an individual piece of it or not. It's part of the journey, and it's just an awesome journey. Somebody's going to have a tough time on that one to edit. Sorry about that. To my sound engineers.
Like last week. But no, I definitely Joe, on that, I totally hear you. When you realize, I think when you realize that passion, that's when things get like really, really exciting, because as cliche as it sounds, it's like it's a gift that keeps on giving, both for yourself and like other people. I've noticed that, I get up every day now and I'm, energized. I love to just work on this stuff. I can spend hours and not realize it, and that's amazing. But then also just speaking to people and sharing passion, positivity, and just all of those things, sharing that with people just creates such deep relationships that I just don't think you could replicate with any other mindset. And
it's contagious.
Oh, 100%, 100%. And that's why I get so excited about, I think it's awesome.
And I think it's important to, really emphasize the fact that it's a natural occurring thing. No matter what type of passion you are, you're naturally going to be more excited about one thing than another. And all you have to do is almost accept it and let it come to you. Like Joe was saying earlier, did you find it or did it find you? And it's that idea of just kind of whatever makes you happy, and whatever type, whether you're innovating, whether you're creating or you're developing, that you just have to figure out which one you're best at and which one gets you the most excited, and follow that and continue to follow that, and then from there establish something that can help you continue to pursue that and that passion.
Absolutely.
Yep. Very well put.
I think it summarizes it beautifully. So I think we'll start to wrap things up here. We're hitting our 20-minute mark, and we promise that we're going to stick to that now. So, but before we finish things off as we always do, I wanted to just make people aware. So as we start to create more content and become more intelligent in this, we're, as much as we're passionate about what we do, we're also learning constantly with stuff. So we're out there now. I just want to repeat, we're out there on Facebook, on Instagram, we're now on TikTok as well, and we're also on the YouTube scene. On the YouTube, we've got more than just Zoom podcasts on there as well. We're starting to have some more in-person podcasts, which are really good fun as well. We get to take the podcast to the guests' kind of natural environment of where they are. So that's awesome. So we've got some of them coming. We've got some other content coming as well in just terms of some fun stuff. I don't want to say too much about that content that's coming, but it is good fun. Like I said, we just have a lot of fun with it. So go and check it out. I think you would enjoy it. To check out that YouTube stuff. On the TikTok, you can find a bunch of highlights of this, our interactions of the different podcasts and things like that. So go and check that out as well. It's all under the Gen Z journey, so you can find it all there. But just let us know. I want to hear back. Leave us a comment on one of the image, or on Instagram. Send us a DM or anywhere. I'd love to hear back from people and how they're kind of receiving our content and what we can improve. We're totally open to that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to drop that in there before we finished and wrap things up for this week's discussion podcast. But without further ado, Aaron, thanks so much for an amazing article again. Definitely go and check that out. Of course, always link is in the description for that article. But without further ado, let's finish as we always do.
Cheers for now. I'm so gonna get one.
As always, head over to the Instagram and Facebook at Gen Z Journey, where you can get an inside scoop of what's going on behind the scenes, as well as seeing the exciting guests that are coming on for that week. But above all else, thanks so much for listening. We really appreciate all your participation, and we're excited you're on this journey with us. See you next time.